So I want to keep that fucking going.
It's really good.
And then the tape index updates are another thing that like takes up a lot of my time now too. But even that's fucking doing well. We're at, I don't want to give out the number, but we're at a good fucking number, and that continues to go up. And the one thing that we're doing with the tape index now is that we're trying to market it towards coaches now too. So it's not like just gamblers. Like,
so much easier to see footage on your opponents.
If you have like, especially if you're a coach that has a ton of fucking fighters on your thing, like under your stable or whatever you want to call it, it's got to be taxing for people to go out there and just try to find the footage and be like, oh, I'm searching up on Uriah Hall's opponent now. Okay, next day I'm searching up on fucking whoever, Carlos Diego Ferreira's opponent. How the fuck am I going to know that I have all the fucking footage that I need out there, right?
How savvy do you think an MMA coach is? Probably not that internet savvy.
Yeah, the older guys. Yeah. Well, think about Ray Longo doing this type of shit.
That's literally what I was thinking, because I was just listening to Edgar Flow too, so he was just talking, and I'm like, I can picture like Ray Longo trying to go on the internet and find this regional fight video.
There's no way. He doesn't know he barely knows what YouTube is. Yeah. Fuck. So we'll just gloss over the events that we did miss in terms of like what the circumstances are regarding them. The consequences or the fallout is what I mean. There wasn't really, so we're going all the way back to the Munez and Edgar card.
Jesus,
this feels like ages ago. Yeah, everything's fucking happened in between then. Nothing really on the prelims that stand out. Daniel Rodriguez, great finish of Dwight Grant, that was great. Shannon Dobson pulling off the biggest upset in UFC history, pretty much. But Maria Agapova was just highly overrated, like beyond overrated.
Beyond that, like let's say her skills weren't overrated.
Yeah.
That was probably in terms of fight IQ the dumbest performance I've seen.
Yeah, let's go out there and try to wreck this bitch in one round.
Or up there for dumbest performance. Like if you were Colby Covington, you would have gassed in like the second round at that pace or third round. Like what the fuck? How do you think that's sustainable? It's just so dumb to do.
She truly believes she's going to be able to get Dobson out of there in the first round. I mean, I was just doing a little bit of research on who did Dobson, Sabina Mazo. In that fight, Mazo and Dobson, they were lined at like minus 140 Mazo and plus 120 Shanna Dobson. And in my opinion, Sabina Mazo could definitely beat Maria Agapova.
Okay.
So I'm like, where are people getting these fucking numbers?
Yeah,
just because Agapova wrecked Cyphers in her last fight.
Cyphers.
She has a loss to Tracy Cortez, who I'm sure you don't even know of, but has 2 fights in the UFC already.
Like that doesn't make, okay.
It's just hype.
Yeah, okay, hype. But how does hype get to a minus 1,000 on an unproven commodity? Like, if they're proven in some way, I get it, but how do you even go above minus 500 if nobody knows who the fuck you are?
It makes no sense. Like, there was literally no reason anybody should have even parlayed her just due to the little amount of effect she would even have on your parlay to begin with.
Like $4 on 1,000.
Yeah, the fuck makes no sense at all. Good one for Shanna Dobson there to get back on the winning track. Joe Salecki looked great too. I'm really excited to see what he's going to bring to that lightweight division. Just goes in there, absolutely destroys Austin Hubbard. Mike Rodriguez puts out Marcin Pacquiao with some beautiful elbows. I'm not sure if you remember that, but he had him in like a tie clinch, kneed him a couple times to the body, and then just fucking elbowed him to death. It was beautiful there. And then Edgar Munez. Weird decision. I don't remember which rounds I scored now for Munez, but I did have Munez winning that fight.
Yeah, so did I. I had it 3-2.
Right? Munez.
Yeah. Definitely Munez. I can see 3-2 Edgar. I remember the fight was... People were all over the place with some of the rounds. I remember I had 1 and 3 for sure Munez, 2 for sure Frankie. But then I thought 4 and 5 were kind of closer. So I could totally see anywhere from 4-1 Munez to 3-2 Frankie.
Yeah.
But I still did think to get to 3-2 Frankie was like you're stretching it. So it felt like Munez definitely should have got 3-2 or 4-1. So yeah, it's one of those like...
There was one round where I think there was a judge that really fucked up the scoring. They gave round 3 to Edgar.
Something like that.
One of the judges gave round 3 to Edgar, and if that judge had, rightfully so, given it to Munez would have won that fight.
He would have won that fight,
right? Yeah. So this is it's unfortunate for Frankie though. Even though you got a win, it's a win, but now you're throwing him in there with the Sharks.
Yeah, and you barely got through the easy. I will say this: I've always been saying Munez is like the easiest guy in the top 5.
Yeah,
he did look way better than I thought. So maybe I've just been under crediting him in the
Munez?
past. Yeah, like he's better than I thought he was.
Yeah.
I guess offensively. Defensively, he is the same as what we thought. Like, he gets hit pretty...
hit pretty easily, but he throws bombs just because he doesn't care.
His leg kicks are nice.
Yeah, his leg kicks are good too. The only thing is he doesn't care about getting taken down because his jiu-jitsu is next level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why he throws with so much fucking bombs. So Edgar asserts himself as number 5 now. Munez moves down to number 6. So the only thing ahead of Frankie Edgar is really Corey Sandhagen, Cody Garbrandt, Aljamain Sterling, who's now fighting Peter Yan, and Marlon Moraes. I think the best fight for Edgar at this point in time is Dominic Cruz. Why the fuck not?
I think everybody wants that fight. Frankie wants it, and even though here's the funny part. Ranking wise, it doesn't make sense who doesn't want it. Like, you would think Frankie doesn't want it because he's too far ahead and Cruz would want it, but it's like opposite. Cruz doesn't seem interested in that. He seems to want like even higher up guys, like title fighter number 1 or 2. And Frankie seems interested. But yeah, I would definitely do that fight. They're both older.
Considering
they're both
both of
primes.
their past performances too, right? Like,
they're past if I'm Cruz, why aren't you taking that fight? You can leapfrog right back in, and it's an easy win against Frankie, in my opinion. I think Dominic Cruz beats him.
Somebody threw out Edgar versus Aldo. We don't need to see that.
Why?
We've already seen it twice.
Yeah, we've already,
it makes no sense. Just because they're at a new weight class doesn't mean the result will possibly be any different.
Yeah, and the second
I still think Aldo will win.
The second fight wasn't exciting. It was just 5 rounds of Aldo point fighting,
exactly.
Beating him. Why?
It's the most useless third fight of all time.
Useless.
Other than BJ Penn, Frankie Edgar 3 that we fucking got for some goddamn reason.
Here's a curveball. Frankie Edgar versus the returning TJ Dillashaw.
I saw that thrown around. I'm not on board.
I don't like it either because I think Frankie loses badly and I don't want to see that.
You know what I want to see TJ come back to? Uriah Faber.
Oh.
Why the fuck not? This is the time to do that grudge match. Yeah. You know what I mean?
2-year layoff.
2-year layoff. Faber is still up there in age. You know what I mean? So I guess the layoff...
done though.
No, Faber's he's still going to fight though.
You think so?
I'm pretty certain he's still.
If they give him TJ, he'll take it.
It's a great fight for TJ to come back to, and it's the best time for Uriah Faber to fight him. Coming off such a long layoff and no EPO. So let's see how the fuck TJ actually looks. Right? Give him fucking 5 rounds. I wouldn't mind it as a fight night main event. They have a story behind it.
It's really important for TJ to come back and look the same. Because if he doesn't look the same, that EPO did everything.
And it looks like fucking Eric Silva when he came back.
But if you come back and you can go 5 rounds at that Henan Barao type pace, like when you fought Henan Barao, if you can kind of go at that pace for 5 rounds, then I might give you the benefit of the doubt and think, okay, maybe you just took it for the flyweight fight. But yeah, but it's really hard to believe if you can't do it. So he better have his cardio on point. He's got a point to prove.
Like you said, he needs to come back looking the same because it would validate the rest of his career as well too. Because if he doesn't, then everybody's gonna be like, all right,
Johnny Hendricks, anybody?
Oh my god, talk about a fall from grace.
Yeah, Jesus.
Dude, the funny thing is, everything I'm seeing on Twitter nowadays is just like every now and then I'll just see somebody put up the tail of the tape of Johnny Hendricks against Paulo Costa, and they're just like, who the fuck put this fight together? Like,
I remember watching that fight live. Do you remember that fight?
I barely remember, but I'm sure you just erased him.
He was so tiny.
Yeah.
Against this jacked Hulk dude, and Costa just wouldn't stop walking towards him, and it was like Johnny Hendricks against the cage, just trying to get away from this monster who just fucking charging.
Dude, he went up to 185. What the fuck?
And he missed weight.
He missed weight.
He missed weight at 185.
I don't remember that.
He was 187 and a half for one of his fights.
Johnny.
Looking fat.
God, Johnny. That's when he had his like steak restaurant or whatever, right?
He seemed to, which failed. I know. God, he seemed to go downhill really fast after he left that company. Where it was that one company.
Oh, yeah, they had a weird percentage that they take.
It's 50-50, but he has no expenses during camp, and I think they even give him like a monthly salary during
I think it was Power MMA or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, there's some sort of gym down in Texas where
and
they're
it's
just
like as soon as he became big, I don't think he wanted to give up 50-50 and said, I can do it myself. And Johnny's an idiot. He's one of the dumbest guys you've seen interviewed too.
Yeah.
And no, he couldn't do it himself.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about Johnny Hendricks?
I don't know how the fuck we got there. Oh, wait, USADA.
Yeah.
And TJ and all that type of shit.
But I am excited to see him come back.
TJ.
Crazy it's been 2 years.
I know. Dude, when it went down, I'm like, dude, these 2 years are going to be long.
Dude, take this in. It's almost been...
I know what stat you're going to bring up.
No, I don't think... No.
Go.
I just heard of it today. So
okay, never mind. I thought the Anderson Silva thing is what you're going to bring up.
No.
Yeah.
It's been almost the same amount of time between Brock versus Overeem and Brock versus Mark Hunt as it has been from Mark Hunt till now. So from Mark Hunt till now is almost the same amount of time as between...
Brock and Overeem was 2011.
At the end of 2011.
Yeah.
Then he fought what?
Mark Hunt in
2015.
2015,
So that's about 4.5 years. And it's been 4+ years since then. What?
Time is just
How does
flying,
that work?
dude.
How the fuck does that work?
Time is fucking flying.
Yeah,
it makes no
dude.
sense. I want to go back, like when I have no time right now, but when I do have time, I want to go back and watch UFC 100 all the way, like from UFC 100 to UFC 200. I don't know why. For me, it feels like the golden era, at least for us. Like that's when we were like we're still at the peak of our love for MMA, but like I don't know why that era just felt so much like we would watch all the countdowns. I'd watch all the fucking interviews. I'd watch, remember the Dana White scrums with Ariel Helwani? Like I missed all that.
It did get watered down a bit because then we went up to 45, 50 events a year. That's when it started to be like, I can't be a full hardcore. This is too much.
Yeah.
But I think around that time it was like what, 20 to 30 a year.
Yeah,
and so you're just
hold on. Let me just quickly let's pull up name an event between 100 and 200.
Let's go 102, which was I think
UFC 102. That was Couture and Nogueira. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh fuck!
It was in Portland as well, wasn't it?
I know.
Bang.
I know. Damn. I know. 101 was Florian Penn with
Silva, Griffin,
Forrest.
in Philadelphia. Yeah. UFC Declaration. Was it Philadelphia? Hit me with that, baby.
Declaration.
Bang.
Yeah. Declaration.
Yeah.
those stupid names.
Okay, let's look at this card from the bottom. Evan Dunham versus Marco Cirillo. At least Dunham is the name. Mark Munoz versus Nick Catone. Names. Todd Duffy
Everyone
versus
has a
Tim
page.
Hague. Yeah. Mike Russo versus Justin McCauley. They were somewhat names back then. Gabriel Gonzaga versus Chris Terscherer.
them, yeah.
Aaron Simpson versus Ed Herman. Brandon Vera. Krzysztof Soshinsky, main card curtain jerker. Nate Marquardt versus Damian Maia. Jake Rochold versus Chris Liebman. Thiago Silva. Shout out to all you people that know who the fuck Thiago Silva is. Against Keith Jardine. Antonio Nogueira against Randy Couture. So that was August 29, 2009.
If you look at the UFC environment at that time, that's a stacked card.
For sure. For sure.
And that's how every card was. Now you just get a lot of more.
UFC 101 was the event before that. That was August 8th. 102 was August 29th. So there's a solid 4-week gap between that time. 3 to 4 week gap. 3-week gap. But even let's look at 101. And this was after UFC 100 where they stacked the fuck out of that card. We get, I don't know who the fuck, Jesse. I know Danilo Villafort.
Yeah. They all have wiki pages.
George Soteropoulos against George Roop. Matthew Riddle against Dan Kramer. Alessio Sakara versus Talis Latis. John Howard versus Tamden McCrory. And then the main card, we got Kurt Pellegrino against Josh Neer. That was a great fight from what I remember. Ricardo Almeida against Kendall Grove. Johnny Hendricks, before he won the title against Amir Sadala. Aaron Riley versus Shea Nelson. I know Riley. Not really familiar with Shea Nelson. Silva versus Griffin. And then Penn versus Florian. Like crazy lineups. Like
that is a big lineup.
I'm going to do one more. UFC 153. Silva versus Bonner. This is when they were scrambling to get a headliner because I believe, it was supposed to be Aldo versus Coke.
And they
in the main event.
had a good look at that main card.
I know. Look at it. Curtain jerker for the main card. Damian Maia versus Rick Story. Then Phil Davis versus Wagner Prado. John Fitch versus Eric Silva. Glover Teixeira versus Fabio Maldonado. Big Nog versus Dave Herman. Anderson Silva versus Stephan Bonner. And even the main card are the prelims. You got like Sergio Moraes, Diego Brandao, Gleison Tibau against Francisco Trinaldo, Honey Jason against Sam Cecilio. Like even for like their international cards seemed a little bit more watered down, but even then, fucking amazing cards.
They just need to put on too many events now, so that's why you don't get.
I love that. I love that stretch. Like it was such a great stretch between 100 and 200. Obviously, I'm still a huge fan right now too, but it was another time back then.
It's like now when you get those big type pay-per-views, the July type pay-per-view, and it's stacked. That's why we get so excited. It almost like takes us back to like, oh, this is like back in the day, big stack UFC.
Let's not. I can't wait to get your reaction when you see the full slate of the event this coming weekend. We'll get into that later. We'll get into that later in the podcast.
Not bad.
But let's go over to the Smith versus Rakic event. Let's see the prelims. Nothing big. Alex Caceres has 3 opponent changes fight week. Goes out there and still gets a submission victory over Austin Springer. That's big for him. Impa Kasanganay, he's the guy that 2 weeks before that got a contract on the Contender Series. Comes in and fights Maki Pitolo, 30-27s him all around. Ricardo Lamas, which now has been said to be his retirement fight because he's hanging it up, beats Bill Algeo in a fight that was a lot closer than it should have been, in my opinion. But Ricardo Lamas still pulls it out. Alexa Grasso, solid win over Ji Yoon Kim. Neil Magny goes out there and fucking Neil Magny's Robbie Lawler. And then Alexander Rakic. Questionable fight game plan against Anthony Smith. You know what I mean? He was wrecking him on the feet, like hurting him, and then just follows him to the ground anytime he dropped from a calf kick.
He seemed like he wanted to be super safe after the Volkan loss. Like that was his goal.
That's what it seemed
Even someone brought it up on a podcast I listened to too. Like after when the fight ended, and he's like, he lets out this scream, like, yeah, I fucking killed him, and everyone at home's kind of like,
did you?
You know, you won, but we're not that impressed. Like you seem to think that you just wowed everybody, and we're not wowed. So it was a good, solid win. Good for you, but I don't think it's bad or anything, because in his next fight he can just have everybody forget about this one, and he's back on a win track, or he's back in the win.
This puts him in a good spot in the light heavyweight division.
He's going to get a good fight from this. Yes. So
I think the perfect fight to set him up with at this point is Yuri Prochazka. Why not? Prochazka's number 6 now.
I don't like that because they're both up and comers. I like when they match
I get, I kind of get that too. We do have Glover versus Santos coming up. That was supposed to be this weekend, but that got pushed to October 3rd now. I would have loved to see Rakic maybe even get the winner of that fight.
Yeah, who does Rakic get actually? Because he just jumped up. You know what? He's got to wait for the winner of Santos Glover for the next shot. Because the winner of that has to fight Reyes and Blachowicz.
So what do you do with Jiri?
Yeah,
because he's up there, right?
Or if Santos beats Teixeira, you might give Santos the title shot, and then you might have to just do Yuri and Alexander. Like if there's no other options, it is what it is.
It seems like the quadruple pairing right now is Jiri, Rakic, Teixeira, and Santos, because we already got Reyes and Blachowicz fighting each other. It seems like those 6 guys are going to be like
and I just
chairs.
took this in. We might actually fucking see Glover Teixeira get a title shot, because if he gets that fight to the ground, Santos is in. He's not coming back up. Like if Glover gets on top of Thiago Santos, it's over. Eric Spicely choked out Thiago Santos.
Yeah.
Glover Teixeira is gonna fucking maul him if he gets him down.
Did you see what the odds are for that fight?
No, but I think it would be close.
Give me a guess.
I'm gonna go with minus 150 Thiago Santos, plus 120.
Then put all the money you want on fucking Glover Teixeira, because he is plus 180 now. He was plus 190 when it was first scheduled.
Interesting. Do you know? The thing is, on the feet, Thiago's way better than him.
For sure, but Glover's shown some durability as
tough.
of late.
Like, he's just tough, and once he gets in close to you and gets you down, dude, once he gets on top, like, it's almost everybody gets
crushing pressure from on top.
Everybody. How many fights has he been losing on the feet? He gets you down, and the guy he mauls you. He doesn't
Carl Roberson and Ion Kutalaba, both fights where he got rocked.
Decision. Yeah, he literally just beats the shit out of you or chokes you. He always finishes you once he gets on top. So that's going to be an interesting fight. Plus 180, not bad.
I like that price from. I think it's going to get worse, it's going to get better closer to the fight, because people are.
Santos is coming off a huge playoff injury.
Bad injury too.
Come on, man. So if Glover's tough enough and Thiago, let's say, gasses or gets taken down.
Yeah. I like that for sure. It's tough to see where we're going to be able to put Rakic now.
Yeah, he might have to wait.
Like if he had a very decisive victory here, you could make a case for him to actually get a title shot right after that win. But then you could have to make that same argument for Glover Teixeira, who did the exact same thing, if not worse, or did much worse to Anthony Smith, right? So, I do think that you are correct in terms of the winner of Teixeira Santos gets the next title shot.
So too, yeah.
So you got to put Rakic in there somewhere too. So decent win, but I wish it was a little bit more emphatic, because I feel like if he did keep it on the feet, he would have gotten that finish, especially with him attacking that calf kick as much as he did. Yeah. Just let him get up.
Did you hear Anthony Smith afterwards?
He's
like, in an interview. He said after the third fucking kick, I was done. Yeah. Like he pretty much alluded to the fact, like, if he didn't take me down, it was over. Like I was gonna have to stop.
Rakic is a beast. He is an absolute beast. Shout out to my guy Newsom, whose management company actually manages him. So they have big things from. They're saying he got a solid contract too recently. So maybe that's kind of what he's hoping for, is to secure that win bonus. Let's get rid of these fucking win bonuses already. But
in my opinion, he beat Volkan too, so he should still be undefeated. I thought that was his learning fight where he still got the win, and now he came back.
He probably just wanted to secure it. This is a dominant victory. I'm riding this out top position. There's no way you can rob this from me. But what's more dominant than a decision victory?
Yeah.
A finish.
You can't blame him to a certain degree, because he did kind of get screwed in that one. So
yeah. I do want to gloss over a little bit about the Magny and Lawler fight, because this is a weird one. Magny was supposed to fight Jeff Neal first, and then Robbie Lawler steps in on short notice. When's the last time you remember Robbie Lawler stepping in on short notice?
Never. But apparently he's been looking for a fight, and like they finally lined up, and he's like, all right, it is what it is. I'll take it.
Because he hadn't fought since he got beat by Covington last year, pretty much a full year ago. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So weird stylistic matchup for him
You know
here.
what? In a sad way, this fight went pretty much exactly the way most people thought it was going to go. I thought there's only two outcomes: Robbie Lawler by first round knockout or Neil Magny by decision, because Robbie can't land that punch. And just based on what we've seen recently from Robbie, there was like no chance he was going to land. He's not the same Robbie Lawler as he was in his prime. He hasn't been landing bombs on people and coming close to knocking them out, except Ben Askren, who has the worst stand-up in the UFC. Yeah. So, like it just felt like, it was like, we know how this is going to go, but we kind of hope that maybe, no.
Everybody just had that ruthless Robbie, right?
No, it was definitely just Neil Magny outpointing. The part that really kind of hurt your heart a bit was when Neil Magny took down Robbie Lawler.
Oh yeah, Robbie Lawler's takedown
prime
defense.
Robbie Lawler.
His takedown defense used to be crazy. Him against Johnny Hendricks.
Do you remember when Rory in their second fight tried to take him down, and he was like half balancing on one leg, and you couldn't get the guy down? Johnny Hendricks could barely get this guy down and keep him down.
Yeah.
And now Neil Magny is dumping you on your ass. Like, it's done. Like, he's on the downturn.
Speaking of Neil Magny, though, dude, the guy's really starting to come into his own. He's 33 years old, so you can still say he's kind of in his peak.
Okay,
3 straight wins.
Look, I love Neil Magny. I was watching him right out of Tough. I remember him losing to Seth Basinski and being so upset. Nobody even knows about that fight. So I love Neil Magny, right? But is he really coming into his own, or is he just being Neil Magny every fucking fight?
Well, okay, let's
another Neil Magny fight.
Let's look at his run since that Basinski loss, though. He racked up 7 straight wins, then lost to Damian Maia. Solid loss there, okay?
Yeah, that's...
Beats Eric Silva, beats Kelvin Gastelum in a 5-round fight, beats Hector Lombard, loses to Lorenz Larkin, who just fucking beat the fuck out of his legs, if you remember that fight, and then TKOs him in the first round. Comes back, beats Johnny Hendricks, prime-ish Johnny Hendricks, I mean, just came off of his title run.
No.
Not
this
prime.
was downturn.
Sorry, not prime-ish, but I mean like close to prime in terms of like, this was right after he lost his title.
No, this was after the Wonder Boy loss, where he like got his soul taken away, and then I think this was his third.
Let me confirm that. Was that his third loss in a row? Let me clarify that. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. Never mind. He did lose to Kelvin. Okay, let me backtrack a little bit.
Hold on. He had to win that fight from the bottom with activity, because he still couldn't get up from Johnny Hendricks taking him down. But luckily Hendricks did nothing on top, so he actually got the nod.
Then loses to Rafael dos Anjos. Not a bad loss.
No, hold on. He got cut through like butter though.
Yeah,
remember that? Dos Anjos leg kicked him out and just arm triangled him. Like,
that's what around that era it was like the leg kicks that everybody knew to start throwing on Neil Magny to really get to him, because his next loss was Santiago Ponzinibbio, who had the same type of fucking game plan.
Fucked up.
You know what I mean? Beats Condit, beats Craig White, loses to Ponzinibbio, and now here he is again, three straight victories. Li Jingliang in a fight that he was the underdog in, goes out there, beats him. I believe he was the underdog against Tony Martin as well too, beats him, and now solid favor over Robbie Lawler.
Here's the thing: he's beating the guys he normally beats. When he gets this step up, he gets destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even like a decision loss. It's like he gets wrecked. And even now, he's back to beating the same level guys. Anthony Martin fight, a lot of people thought he lost that fight too. There's actually controversy over the first 2 rounds. So to me, I don't think he might be a better version of Neil Magny, but he's still just Neil Magny.
Just a more weathered version at this point.
Do you see him beating? I think he would struggle with anybody in the 6 to 10 range, and I don't think he beats anyone top 5. So that's still regular Neil Magny. I think he's like a 10 to 15 fighter. I
might get fucking wrecked for this, but I think he could give Jorge Masvidal some trouble.
That's fair because of his length. I can see the cardio, the activity,
the strength.
Masvidal often loses to people he's better than just because he doesn't output enough.
And Masvidal's not really a leg kicker.
No,
he's a boxer.
Yeah, he is.
Right?
So if he tries that game with Neil and Neil outpoints him, I could see that.
So he is ranked number. He is ranked number 11. Vicente Luque is number 10. Yeah.
You know what? I don't mind that, but I still kind of feel like Luque needs to step up. Like, this guy just keeps having wars with these.
Well, Magny's a solid name to have on your record, so I wouldn't be too mad if I was Vicente Luque and they line me up with him, right?
It's better than Nico Price. So
Yes.
fine.
Yeah.
Like, or whoever he beat.
I also wouldn't mind. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Jeff Neal, but I remember he had like some life-threatening
Almost
fucking
died.
disease or some shit.
But I think the recovery's quick. I think it was just like an organ thing, so
Okay.
he should be okay.
So if he's back on track, then why not book that fight again? I'd be happy to see Magny versus Neal. I'm very intrigued to see how that fight would go. So yeah, solid win for Magny there. Decent card that night too. God. Any words on Ricardo Lamas retiring? Solid career for a guy that never really saw the title. You know,
he just couldn't beat the top guys.
challenged Aldo for a title. That was about it.
Couldn't get it done, and then I remember Chad Mendez knocked him out. He was just always solid, but he couldn't crack the top 5. But he was definitely like right on the cusp, of, like maybe the top, like the 5th guy in the top 5. But
Only sketchy loss I'd say would be the Mirsad Bektik one, considering how Bektik's career has now played out. But other losses: Jose Aldo, Chad Mendez, Max Holloway, Josh Emmett, and Calvin Kattar. Not bad.
not a bad round of losses
In his
He only
UFC
lost
run.
to top tier guys, and you could always count on him to beat like a middle tier type. Of
Yeah.
team. So
4,
it was-
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What is that? 11 and 6 UFC record. Not bad.
It's the right time to call it. Like you're on the downturn. You're not going to be a champion.
It's good that he knows that this is the point in time to hang it up. And he's
Yeah.
38 years old.
It
So
was a tough fight too. He showed grit. It's a good win. Like
Yeah.
that 3rd round, he really showed some heart. Came through.
that was some
pulled it out.
veteran savvy right there to fucking
Yeah.
pull through the way he did.
And dominate that round the way
Yeah.
he did. It was almost like a 10-8, I think. So
And that position that he had Algio in seemed like a position that Algio could get out of, but he was doing small things correctly, like
think he
holding
held
the
his wrist.
he was
Yeah.
holding the forearm and like making sure that he stayed in that position. And yeah, I think he got a 10-8 in that round too, which really allowed him to get the victory there. God, I got something stuck in my throat. All right, Overeem and Sakai. That was this past weekend where we got fucking dwindled down to 7 fights. Dude, it was fucking nuts. So the day of the fight, I went to a park nearby just with my mom to like go for a walk. Went for a nice walk. Before we went on the walk, I saw that Thiago Moises was out. So I'm like, all right, cool. I made my replacement bet because I had Kelleher and Natividad under 2.5. That gets pulled, so I replaced with Thiago Moises. And then right before I go on the walk, see that Moises out, and I'm like, all right, fuck, I'm not going to rebet anything. I'm good with my slate right now. Go on the 2-hour walk, come back into the car. Fucking Marcos Rogerio de Lima, test positive for COVID. I'm like, fuck, that's my lock of the night
That's your
play.
lock, yeah.
The fuck? That under 1.5 was so nice. So
easy. That was
I was
easy.
waiting for that shit to hit. That would
Lima,
have
any
helped
fight
so much.
he's in under 1.5
Yeah.
is like easy.
And even just watching this Romanov guy fight, like if you were to watch this guy fight, you'd be like, all
I
right.
didn't even know that guy, but
his
I just-
nickname's King Kong. Like, fuck.
As soon as I saw De Lima and under 1.5, I'm like, minus 140 or 50. What
Yeah.
the fuck is this? This is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, little do we know, it dwindles down from 10 cards, I believe, on weigh-in day, all the way down to 7 now. And they literally just made it a main card. They didn't even have prelims. They just started at 7 p.m. Eastern, and they just fucking banged through all 7 fights on
did they? I
one
did
card.
not even know that.
They just made it a fucking main card. It makes sense. Why not? Why do you need to like go through the hoops and shit, right? Because even if you have a 5-fight main card, you're having 2 fights on the prelims. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? So Azure goes out there and has a decent performance against Cole Smith. Shows gas tank issues in that 3rd round.
Yeah, almost lost it there.
Almost lost it there. Viviane Araujo looked great against De La Rosa. I truly thought De La Rosa would implement her grappling a little bit more. She kind of seemed like Daniel Cormier against Stipe. Like she didn't really initiate the grappling as much as I expected her to.
To me, it felt like before she could even think about doing it, I think her leg was already compromised. I think that
too.
totally fucked it up.
Yeah.
Like it was only like 2 or 3 minutes in, she looked like she was, oh, this isn't going well.
Great comeback fight for Araujo after losing that fight to Jessica Ai. And then Brian Kelleher goes in there 39 seconds.
Yeah, he
I
does
literally
his
went to
thing.
go take a piss, came back and fucking...
I didn't even see it. I just saw the
Kelleher's
replay.
Yeah, pretty much when I came
Guy
back.
takes him down against the cage.
Yeah,
That's
the
all
fuck.
right. Cool.
So good one for Brian Kelleher there. Andre Munez against Bartosz Fabinsky. Man, this seemed like a no-brainer, especially like when we saw that Ben Askren and Damian Maia fight. When you have a high-level grappler going up against a high-level BJJ guy, you know the grappler is going to need to go to his grappling, but that's going right into the death trap of the BJJ. I truly thought Fabinsky would be able to fend off the jiu-jitsu, but Munez was just so relentless with it. The guy's huge too for middleweight. Like the guy's a big middleweight.
I didn't take
it's
it,
crazy.
A good submission though, because it didn't. it looked like he was kind of escaping the triangle, and then boom, we tapped. Like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Kenny Florian broke it down. Fabinsky actually like went the wrong way, so he could have easily gotten out of it if he went the right way. But he's like, it's also split second decision making. So you go left when you should have gone right. Boom, it's over. So
solid armbar win for Andre Munez. He calls out Omari Akhmedov, which is, in my opinion, a great call out for him. It's a solid little step up for him. So
I love
good call
reasonable
out there.
call outs. Like, you got to know where the fuck you are and have reasonable. Like, I'm sorry, but. Are we going to talk about
Yep,
it?
that's next. Michelle Pereira.
That's it. Hey.
Pereira against Zelim Imadaev.
I will have to say this.
We got 2 talking points here. So starting off with the call out. Let's start off with the call out.
Stupid as fuck. You're going to call out the BMF champion after beating some no-name guy, and you're 1-2 in your last fights on paper. So I don't know what the hell you're thinking there. But holy fuck, did this guy look amazing in this fight.
Yeah, no, he looked really good.
He looked incredible to me, where I was like, oh shit, like... This guy's a serious talent. It felt like any time he decided to blitz in and throw something, everything connected. Like, he was so fast and accurate. I was kind of taken aback by how much how good he was there. I was like, holy shit, this guy's really good.
The kiss of his palm and then slap.
Yeah,
that fucking killed me. He kisses his hand.
Yeah,
and then just fucking
and shows him just slap you with this.
Wax, boom.
He's too fast. He was too fast for Imadaev. The guy had no clue what was happening.
God, that was great.
I thought Pereira was super impressive. I thought his cardio was on point.
Yes.
I mean,
that was the knock on him.
He didn't look even a little bit tired at the end of 3 rounds of constantly doing that. He did some of his stupid flashy shit, but it wasn't that much in my opinion. A lot of it was control. Yeah, I thought he had a great performance. He looked really good. The finish was definitely, I don't think there was a tap.
No.
It probably should have been a decision win, but whatever. It is.
It's fine in these instances. Like, it obviously sucks for anybody who had the fight goes to decision.
Yeah.
But it's still it was a foregone conclusion. We know he's going to win. Did he get a performance? Yeah, he did get a performance of the night. I'm sure even if he got a decision victory, he would have got the performance of the night. So he looks great there. I don't think they've ranked him yet, which makes sense because Imadaev isn't anybody crazy.
I didn't even know, like, during the fight, I'm like, why is this guy slapping? Like, fucking fight.
Yeah.
Did you know? Yeah, I didn't know about the weigh-in. I found out about that after. Then I was like, oh, this guy's even more of a G. He fucking remembered when the guy slapped him. He's like, and then after he knew he could tool him, he's like, I'm going to fucking slap you back, motherfucker. And he did it. That makes me like him more. I've like total 180 after that performance.
Imadaev is just a dick. Like, the guy's a complete idiot. He fought Max Griffin in the last fight, and for some goddamn reason, after the first round was over, he just like looks at him and gives him the middle finger and just starts walking off.
Okay.
He's just a weirdo. He's just a hothead dumbass.
Okay. It's funny you say that because during the commentary, someone said that they asked him what went wrong in his losses, and apparently he just stared the guy down and said nothing went wrong.
Yeah,
and you're like, you lost though.
Yeah.
Well, clearly you're like, I heard that. I'm like, oh, this guy's probably a doofus,
no,
and then
he
just got destroyed.
He's a dumbass,
idiot.
Good one for Pereira there. I'm looking forward to seeing what they put in front of him next. He needs obviously a little bit of a step up, somebody to challenge him, and kind of poke holes in his style. But if he fights like this moving forward, he's going to be a big problem. Yeah. And I emphasize big because the guy is a big motherfucker for welterweight.
Really big.
For welterweight, let's just get the metrics on it. 6'1" with a 73-inch reach.
That's like
solid.
Light heavyweight almost.
That's solid.
A lot of light heavyweights are at that.
So good one for Pereira there. That takes us to a co-main event, OSP against Alonzo Manfield. A lot of people keep buying into this fucking Francis Ngannou type like fighter. Like anytime a fighter like Alonzo Manfield, Francis Ngannou, or Abdul Razak Al Hassan, I'm going to categorize these guys at all times together. It's knockout in round 1 or early round 2 or fucking bust. And that's exactly what happened here.
Sort of a difference though, because Manfield was so worried about doing that, he just did nothing. So
there's that too. but that's the thing though. Like that's all he's looking for. Why not set it up with combinations?
To me, it felt like I gassed so bad last time. I'm really worried about my cardio. I'm gonna be super choosy, and then he ended up doing nothing. And then by the time he decided to run in, he gets knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. I tweeted, I'm like, the more steps that Manfield takes, the happier I get because I know that's OSP getting closer and closer to finish.
This fight didn't go the way I thought. I thought OSP might get clipped or rushed at the beginning and then eventually get it to the ground. But this was just OSP in control the whole fight and then knocking him out.
Kicking him at range. Did very well with that front kick.
Manfield, I think mentally he was fucked up from blowing his wad the last fight.
He has a great coach. Like he trains at Fortis MMA with Saif Sayoud and those guys. But the main thing is with him, it seems to be mental. Like you also got to put into this guy's head, throw more than 2 punches in a row. You know what I mean? Throw some combinations, throw some kicks.
Hide your strikes, yeah.
Do some hide your strikes. You have the power. So just tap, and then just throw some power after
Kenny
that.
Florian brought it up too. He's like, if you watch the striking, he's way better than OSP technically.
I would have to agree.
OSP was just landing better. Like just doing more experience.
I found it weird that actually Kenny Florian picked him to win by decision. That made zero sense to me.
He picked Manfield by decision.
Yeah.
I know he picked what Manfield, the fuck? But I was like,
he picked him by decision. I'm like, are you kidding me, Kenny? Like,
very weird.
I know you're a good predictor, but that was
he's generally pretty good, but that was really weird.
I was like, what the fuck? Manfield or OSP, everybody thought that he was going to win by submission. So submission was like plus 150, and then KO was plus 850 or something like that. So I took a little bit of stab on that just because I'm like, okay, I think that if he gets him down, one, the submission might be there, or two, what if Manfield can't get him off him and just TKOs him? Plus 850? Fuck yeah, I'm taking that shot. And it pays off even though it wasn't the way that I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Still gets the finish regardless, right? So good one for OSP there. Keeps himself relevant in the light heavyweight division, which again is now open. Like with John Jones gone, it is definitely now open now. So where is he ranked? He's not even ranked. Show some respect to this man. How are you fucking ranking Paul Craig over this guy?
Is it because he fought that?
He fought one time at heavyweight, but the fucking, what's his face? John Jones is not. There's somebody that fought at a different division that's still ranked at Frankie Edgar was still ranked at featherweight before he went down.
Yeah, I know, God.
And now they've obviously changed it too, right? So he should definitely be ranked, especially ahead of Paul Craig, in my opinion. But yeah, why not set up him and maybe Magomed Ankalaev? That's not a bad fight. Unless they want to keep trying to do Kutilaba and fucking Ankalaev.
It feels like that fight just needs to happen, but this is the new Khabib tone.
I know, pretty much.
But they actually made it the first time. It's just the second time we can't get them together.
Yeah, they are rematching Paul Craig and Shogun, who I remember I was telling you about that. 15 against 13 kind of makes a little bit of sense. And then our main event, it was the night of the fucking the veterans. You know what I mean? The veterans are going out there and still doing work. Alistair Overeem remembers that he can wrestle in round 3, starts and takes him down. I had fucking round 4 plus 1325, and he was so close to getting that fucking finish in round 4.
What was round 5?
Round 5, I think, was plus 2300. Yeah. Usually I do like 3, 4, and 5, but I'm like, there's no way Sakai's making it a 5.
Yeah,
fucking
no,
barely makes it to 5.
I think I did 3 and 4.
Ugh, goddamn.
And 4, and then 5, he ended in like 20 seconds. You're like,
26 seconds.
And then I was like, yo, what is the round 5 finish? I bet it's even better than round 4.
Of course.
I didn't even end up looking because I didn't want to see it.
Plus 2300. It should have been a no-brainer. Like I should have just taken it.
Why don't, if you're going to take 3 or 4, why not put the extra like $5 or $10 on the 2300 one? Yeah, it's stupid.
It was I don't know why the fuck I didn't take on that. But regardless, good one for Overeem there. Again, stays relevant just like OSP in the heavyweight division.
I look good. Yeah, So this is the thing, right? Overeem generally just loses by guys rushing him on the feet and clipping him, and he gets rocked and hurt and he can't come back. Sakai doesn't hurt anybody.
No.
So that's why I thought, I don't understand these odds going into this fight, because he doesn't even have the style that generally beats Overeem, and he's greener like everywhere else. Like his striking probably isn't as good as Overeem, but Overeem loses to guys who have striking that's not as good as him anyway after he gets rushed. But he can't even do that. So where does he win this fight? I just didn't see it at all. And
the concern always with Overeem is that first round knockout.
The chin,
first round knockout. If somebody's able to get that, then I kind of understand it.
I just thought, man, Walt Harris blitzed him as hard as he could. Sakai can't do that.
No.
I don't see that happening. And it's a 5-round fight, and he's never had a 5-rounder. And he's coming off his win over Ivanov, where he won it, but if he didn't grab the cage, he probably would have lost it off a takedown.
Yeah.
And then that split decision over Arlovsky was only 2 fights ago, which he lost. So his record wasn't even that good coming in. So I don't know. It was really weird.
If you do look back at Overeem's record, like he got knocked out by Jairzinho with like 4 seconds left. Before that, the Curtis Blades one was from, I believe it was from full guard, right?
Full guard, elbows.
And then the one before that was Francis Ngannou just absolutely, removing his soul from his body. But like, if you take those out of it, like the last KO legit was like Stipe Miocic. Francis Ngannou's going to knock out anybody, so it makes sense. But like
almost all of his losses in the UFC are like he's winning and then he loses.
Mark Hunt, that's a knockout puncher. He was able to endure that for 2.5 rounds before finishing him. Fabrizio Verdum, say what you want about him. Sergey Pavlovich has power as well too. Got through that. Alexei Oleinik did hurt him at a certain point in that fight, but then obviously Overeem comes back. Walt Harris, huge knockout power, still was able to finish him too. So I still think that Overeem can make a little bit of a run at heavyweight. I know it's not the most appealing to go, say, okay, make him fight Stipe at this point in time. Maybe get one more win. Get him one more solid victory. Like, who can we match him up with at this point in time?
He definitely deserves a title fight, but he
needs one more win.
I think he deserves a number one contender fight just based off his overall body of work and who he is. Give it to him. He's old and he wants one more run.
I wouldn't mind them running back Jairzinho and Overeem.
Honestly,
why not?
I know rematches like that generally don't make any sense, but when you look at the landscape, there's actually nothing else that makes sense. Like,
you got Lewis Blades next. Lewis and Blades are fighting each other, and Ngannou is more than likely going to be fighting Stipe. But then we also have to figure out where the hell John Jones is fitting into this equation as well, too. Right?
That is a good point. I don't think they're going to do Overeem and Jones. You know what? They might do Overeem and fucking Jones.
They could.
I think Jones takes some time off and just bulks up a bit, and he comes into like. Jones either gets winner of Lewis Blades or just a title shot. That's probably what he should get.
Sorry, who? Overeem?
Winner of Lewis Blades for number one contender or just jumps into a title shot.
No, you can still throw out the Rosenstrike fight. Why not?
For Jones?
Oh, sorry, for Jones. Sorry,
yeah. For Jones.
Yeah, you're right.
But I definitely like Overeem, Rosenstrike in a rematch.
Yeah.
Just because of how that fight went and where they are, it kind of lines up perfectly. Just do it.
Yeah.
You're right. It was short notice last time too.
Yeah.
Maybe Rosenstrike could be like, listen, I came in short notice too. I still knocked him out. Everyone says that he schooled me for 4 rounds. So,
I think Rosenstrike would be down for that fight too, just to shut up those naysayers as well too. So good one for Overeem there. Gets him right back into there, and if there is any time for him to make a run, this is it. Like he's talked about it in the post-fight press conference. He talks like, I got 2 years left, max 3 years. I mean, especially if you're making fucking $800K a fight, you're going to fight for 3 more years.
Yeah.
I mean,
one more loss and it's over for title shots. Like, there's no more. He needs to get one more win and get that title fight.
Yeah. All right. You ready to take a look at this Angela Hill versus Michelle Watterson card?
Whatever.
You ready for this shit? You ready for this shit?
At least that main event.
So formally, it was supposed to be headlined by Thiago Santos versus Glover Teixeira. I believe, Teixeira test positive for COVID, and they pushed that to October 13th.
I got to ask. I'm guessing the over-under is 4.5 rounds, and it's probably minus 400 for over 4.5.
Let's see.
What's the over 4.5?
They just released it. Minus 285 for over 4.5 rounds. They literally just released these lines too because it wasn't up before you came here.
I'm just going to tell you right now that I'm watching this fight Sunday morning, so don't even ask me if I saw it Saturday night. There's no way I'm staying up for that.
God damn. But
let's see the card. Yeah.
This is actually a little bit weird though. I kind of understand it because it was already like booked, but they should have bumped Holly Holm and Aldana from the main event to the co-main and given Teixeira and Santos the top spot.
Hold on, Teixeira Santos is on this card?
No, it was supposed to be the main event of this card. But now they pushed it to the October 3rd card, which is already headlined by Holly Holm versus Irene Aldana.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's
now they're
Teixeira Santos?
Yeah, they're reducing it to 3 rounds.
That's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, so you should definitely give Santos Teixeira 5 rounds compared to Holly Holm.
That's a light heavyweight number one contender fight. Holly Holm.
But then again, if you're Holm and Aldana, are you really going to want to give up that top spot? Especially if you're Aldana. You know what I mean? Aldana wants to make a name. It
is crazy how almost Holly Holm's entire MMA career is built off that 1 Ronda Rousey win. Because
Pretty
outside
much.
Of that, like, isn't she like 3-6?
She's beaten like Betsko Hea.
Yeah. She keeps getting title shots in top fights, and she'll kind of maybe win one decent one and then just lose to another top chick.
So she beats Ronda Rousey, loses to Miesha Tate, loses to Valentina Shovchenko, loses to Jermaine Durandamy, beats Betsko Hea, loses to Chris Cyborg, beats Megan Anderson, loses to Amanda Nunes, beats Raquel Pennington.
Well, she is losing to GOATs at least, but in her last couple of fights. And even the GDR fight, a lot of people felt she won that, so I'll kind of give it to her.
Yeah, you got to give this to her, though. She is fighting the top flight competitions at all time.
What? Now that I think about it, I'm looking at it, outside of Miesha Tate, her 3 losses are to like the 3 women GOATs.
Yeah.
Nunes, Shevchenko, and Cyborg. You can't really say too much there.
Yeah.
All right.
You can't really flock her too much for that. So let's go and look at this card. So you ready for this shit?
Oh, Mazo, that should kill you. Luckily, you just mentioned her. Otherwise, I never would have fucking. Justine Quiche, I know her.
Okay, let's go through it.
Barbarina. Okay,
Okay.
Bam Bam's here.
Who's he fighting?
Anthony Ivy. I've seen that name before.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure.
You sure?
Is he debuting?
No, this is his second fight.
Yeah,
in
that's
UFC.
what I thought.
He
I
got
was like,
smoked in
yo,
his
that-
first fight.
Okay, Camacho. Okay.
Here, let me expand. for
Alan
you a little
Patrick
bit.
versus Bobby Green.
Yeah,
That's just tucked away on the prelims. Bobby Green versus Alan Patrick.
he's Green is stepping in on short notice. Patrick was supposed to fight somebody else. Patrick,
okay.
it's been a while since Patrick has fought as well too.
You know what? This prelim isn't that bad. Frivola, Roberts, I like that. Julia Villa, Sajara, Eubanks, decent. Nam versus Schnell should be. That's a fun
Okay,
fight.
you know what? You're right. The prelims are pretty fire.
The prelims will look
pretty
better
fire.
than the fucking main card.
Prelims
Right?
are pretty fire.
Yeah.
But okay,
Quarantillo,
no.
okay,
Here's another thing though. The main card, they may not have the names, but the fight should be good. Like
You're right.
Quarantillo against Kyle Nelson should be a fun fucking fight.
Modafferi Lee is a great stylistic matchup.
Yeah.
Like I'm very curious
Absolutely.
about the grappling.
Yep.
Yeah, Herman Rodriguez is fun. I don't know that guy. Autumn.
Otman Azatar, it's weird.
Combo
Him,
Worthy, I like him. Yeah.
Azatar is like a striker. He's like a knockout type of guy. So he has some good fights.
There you go. That's a good
Yeah.
stylistic fight. And then
Somehow
Hill
has
Watterson, I like.
somehow has like 2 million followers on Instagram. He's like huge on that side of the
really?
world.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck. And then Watterson versus Hill.
I
So
like
it's
Hill
it's
versus Watterson.
it's a decent card, but like if you know these people, you know they're going to be fun fights.
Yeah, this is a good hardcore card, like a
Yes.
sneaky hardcore card. Like on paper, though, it doesn't look that great. But you're like, if you have to like look at each matchup and think about it. And then you're like,
For
you know
sure.
what? These are all fucking fun fights.
What fight are you most excited for? Just scanning that.
Right off the bat, honestly, like probably Schnell Nam.
Wow, get out of my brain.
Right?
That's the exact same one I was thinking.
Because I'm like, in terms of fireworks
Yeah.
and skill, like I think that one's
Yeah,
really
no,
fun.
I'm totally on board with
Yeah,
that, dude. I was very surprised that you went out of all those fights. That's the one you picked because that's the one I'm going with too.
Yeah, you know.
I'm very, very excited for that fight. That should be
Yeah.
a very, very fun fight. But I'm excited to see Julia Avila again. That girl is just so fun to fucking watch. Raging Panda. How can you not love that nickname as well too? But just the way she fights should be very, very fun. Matt Frivolov against Roosevelt Roberts should be a great fight as well too. It's always fun to watch Bobby
I like
Green
Bobby
fight.
Green, man.
It's fun to watch him fight.
I hope he can come into his own
Yeah.
and get up there a bit, man. He's good.
Yeah, he's gonna have to deal with a huge grappling pressure from Alan Patrick here, though. So interesting to see how he comes out with that. Ed Herman versus Mike Rodriguez should be fun too. Billy Quarantillo always brings it. We know
Yeah.
that he always brings it. Kyle Nelson is a fighter as well too, so that's fucking great. But Watterson versus Hill. Let's see what it in terms of rankings what we're talking about here. Watterson is number 8. Angela Hill is number 13. So not the most crucial of fights here.
Yeah.
You know, like if Hill wins, she cracks the top 10 finally. If Watterson wins, she kind of asserts herself in the top 10. I just don't know where they go from here, right? Like, what the fuck is Joanna up to?
I'm still healing, I guess. Jeez, her and Zhang
Does she still look
should
like a fucking alien?
They should not fight till 2021.
Yeah,
both of
that's
them.
true.
That is a.
They should take a little bit of time off.
That's a war.
Tatiana Suarez is still out there trying to get her neck right. Nina Ansaroff is fucking pregnant. They should just take her out of the fucking rankings.
I hate that she changed her name to Nina Nunes as well.
Is it official?
Like legally, her name is Nina Nunes, but they still call her Ansaroff, which
Yeah.
I like. Like, don't write Nunes. And
Could you imagine if they
confuse
changed
everybody.
it to like Paige Vanderford?
Oh,
That is weird. That's one thing. Like when I'm doing when I'm putting together the tape index, when I'm trying to find these women and like, oh shit, there used to be like Montana De La Rosa. She used to be Montana Stewart. Like, thanks. Maybe on Tapology, just let me put maiden name. What was her maiden name?
yes.
Give me that shit.
Jesus Christ.
Yan Xiaonan is actually scheduled to fight Claudia Gadelha soon. I am very much looking forward to that because
That's a great fight.
I truly think that we're going to get some China on China crime if Yan's able to get past Gadelha there. She'll probably need at least one more victory.
Claudia's that title shot gatekeeper.
Yeah.
That's what she is now.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a whatever card this weekend.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Watterson Hill, it's 8 versus 13, but
Yeah.
when you actually think about it, you're like, there's not really that many repercussions.
There's not too
from
much
this fight, right?
significance,
You would
yeah.
think like it should be a big fight. Not really, based on where they both are. And Hill, poor Hill, man, she could be on a 6-fight win streak at this point with a win
Yeah.
over Claudia and be top 5 right now. So
It's
rooting for
unfortunate though because there's not really any other fight that you could take from here and be like, okay, this needs to headline and be 5 rounds,
yeah,
right? These girls have the biggest name on the card. Let's be honest.
100%.
Karate Hottie, Angela Hill. They have the biggest
And
names
Hill
on the
does
card.
she's better in 5-rounders. I think she starts to get going a little more.
I
think she wins. I don't know. What do you think? I think on the feed she might.
I haven't been able to get into that fight yet, but I do favor Michelle Watterson a little bit. I think she has a better complete game. Yeah.
If it gets to the ground, Hill's in trouble.
Watterson's
got that slick grab.
She has good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. I need to look into it a little bit more. It's a very even fight. Hill is the favorite. Yeah, she's a slight favorite. She should
be a slight favorite, especially coming off that loss against Claudio. So.
Dude, September 19th, though, there are people saying that this card overall is better than 253. So let's just do a quick side-by-side look at this.
Really?
Because they just booked Hamza Chimaev on here against what's his face, Gerald Meerschaert. Let's just put these together. Wow, they should at least update Wikipedia. So Miguel Beza versus Mickey Gall, Kevin Holland versus Darren Stewart, Andre Ewell versus. This is September 19th, by the way. Andre Ewell versus Erwin Rivera, Mara Bueno Silva versus Mara Romero Barella, Khamzat Chimaev versus Gerald Meerschaert, Johnny Walker versus Ryan Spann, Cowboy Cerrone versus Nigel Price, Mirsad Bektik versus Garrett Gorey, Jessica Rose Clark against Sarah Alpar, Marion Renault against Ketlin Vera, Randy Costa versus Journey Newson, Derek Minner versus TJ Laramie, Mackenzie Dern versus Randall Marcos, Cyril Gahn against Abdur Rakhimov, and Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley. Now, let's look at 253. For what's let's say the announced fights: Alexa Kimura versus William Knight. William Knight just won on the Contender Series. Jordan Espinoza versus David Dvorak. Casey Kenny versus Haile Alateng. Shane Young versus Nate Landwehr. That should be a sneaky fun fight. Brad Riddell versus Alex De Silva. Diego Sanchez versus Jake Matthews. Kai Kara France versus Brandon Royval. Hakeem Dawadu versus Zubaira Tukagov. And then we have the two title fights: Reyes versus Blakovic and Adesanya versus Costa.
It's tight.
I gotta give it to September 19th, dude.
Right? Especially if that card holds together. They got some better names on there overall.
How many fights is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 fights. Fuck?
If that's me, I'm probably moving Cerrone Price to the pay-per-view.
Yeah, right?
Like either the prelim main event or maybe the opener on the pay-per-view.
So 253 is actually the first fight back on Fight Island.
Oh, that's probably why. Okay.
So maybe that has something to do with it. But
yeah,
Chimaev is coming over just to fight on fucking this card. And that's weird. Like that they have him like scheduled to fucking fight Damian Maia pretty much already and just pretty much overlooking Gerald Meerschaert. They just released the odds for it. And Gerald Meerschaert's like plus 350. He opened plus 350. Let's see what he's at now in case people have steamed him. Plus 400 now for Gerald Meerschaert.
Holy fuck.
They still don't have odds on my guy, TJ Laramie. I'm looking forward to that.
That's a little crazy, man.
I know, right?
That's too much.
Gerald Meerschaert via sub might be a prop to look at. Because if he's plus 400 straight, he's probably going to be plus 650, plus 700 to win by sub.
Yeah, we don't know how this fight's going to look on the feed if this guy doesn't get him down. Like, there's so many unknowns.
I'm looking forward to it. It's a good test for him. It's a good step up for him, so that's great too.
It's a good name.
All right, last thing I want to get into before we get out of here. One of our viewers actually suggested this to us. So it's been a little bit of a couple weeks now where Scott Coker was making this claim that the Bellator divisions are much better than UFC's divisions. They have the best light heavyweight division now and all that type of shit. Yeah. So one of our viewers was saying that, okay, let's line up the champions and see who would actually fucking win. Okay. So let's start off at the top. Heavyweight. Bader versus Miocic.
I think Miocic easy.
I think so too. I think that Miocic is like a true heavyweight that can actually fight.
I don't think it's competitive, if I'm being honest. Because Bader's got that, he's got power and he's got that wrestling. The wrestling is going to be totally negated and Miocic's boxing kills him. So.
And he's going to be the stronger fighter in there too.
Exactly. Yep.
So that one's easy. Miocic over Bader. Nemkov versus Jones, because we don't really have a title holder right now. Obviously, Jones would probably reckon, but then again,
it's closer than you think it is.
It is closer because Nemkov is the real deal. I need to actually go back and
he's getting better.
Legit watch him because I'm not the most familiar with him. But that one could be close, especially if you throw in Jones or Reyes, or sorry, not Jones, Jan Blachowicz and Reyes. Yeah. So if you do one of those two.
Nemkov has beaten Phil Davis and Ryan Bader. Those are two top light heavyweights from the UFC. So
Yeah, so that one could be close. I'm not willing to go out there and be like Nemkov is going to get murked by the UFC guys. Middleweight is actually vacant right now because Lovato Jr. gave up his title due to whatever the fuck. So we'll just skip over that. Welterweight, Douglas Lima against Kamaru Usman. Usman all day.
Man, that's probably one of the closer ones.
It's a closer one, but I do think that Kamaru will be able to get him down.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's that grappling. Lima's really good, but once he gets taken down, he's not good at getting back up. That's like his only bad thing about his game is once he's down, he doesn't get back up.
Don't get me wrong though, like the odds probably will be a little bit closer. Like it'll probably be like minus 185 Kamaru, minus 200 Kamaru.
Dude, couple of leg kicks from Douglas Lima.
Yeah,
could turn the tide of that
for
fight.
sure. I'm not trying to understate how good Lima is, but
it's the grappling. It's a problem.
It's the grappling. Kamaru is just too overwhelming for some of these guys. And Lima's a bigger guy too. Let's not forget about that. He is a big welterweight. Lightweight, Pitbull versus Khabib. Come on.
Khabib. It's the size thing. Like for as good as Pitbull is on the feet, maybe the size.
He's a featherweight.
Yeah, he's a featherweight.
He's a featherweight. And like I said, he is the featherweight champion as well too. So him against Volkanovski, that could be a close fight.
I think Volk beats him.
Volk beats him, but I think it's a close fight. Kind of like the Lima and Usman fight as well too. So
I would. Volkanovski's trickier, but Pitbull's probably the naturally more athletic and faster guy.
And better striker overall, but Volkanovski is just technically...
He's got that trickiness.
Yeah. Bantamweight. So Patrick Mix and Juan Archuleta are actually fighting each other this weekend for the vacant bantamweight strap. Archuleta, he did fight... Who did he fight for?
Why is it vacant? Because Horiguchi gave it up?
Yes. Horiguchi did give it up because of his ACL injury.
Yeah, okay.
So they have Archuleta and Mix fighting for it. Mix, I think, is a dark horse. They don't have the odds out for it yet, but I think that kid, like he's 13-0. He has submission victories already over Andrew Ewell, who was his like fourth or fifth fight as a pro. He has another guy, Tony Gravely, who's in the UFC right now, submitted him too. He's just going out there and just like dominating these guys. Like he's a big, lanky 135er that has legit grappling and legit jiu-jitsu. So I think he's going to definitely be a problem. This is a great step up for him to fight Archuleta. But either of them, I think Yan would give them a little bit of issues. Actually, Mix versus Yan would kind of look like Sterling versus Yan.
Oh, interesting.
In my opinion. So we'll see how Sterling ends up doing against Yan, because that's probably the next fight booked. But yeah, I need to see what Mix looks like this weekend before I can truly give him a rating against what he would look like against Petr Yan, because Archuleta is probably one of the best fighters he's fighting at this point in time. Last time we saw Archuleta, I think he fought Pitbull for the title, and he came up short in that fight too. The women's divisions, there's only two women's divisions. Featherweight, Cyborg versus Munez. We have already seen how that fight plays out. Munez wins that fight. And then flyweight, Mcfarland versus Valentine Shovchenko. I think Shovchenko absolutely murks her. The only thing that Mcfarland has is grappling, and Shovchenko just will be way stronger than her, way better of a striker, and probably wouldn't get to the ground. And even if it did, I think Shovchenko would have a little bit of a field day with her too.
Jesus.
Yeah, Shovchenko is just too strong, man.
She's that good.
Alima she doesn't look that strong. That's the unfortunate part for her. So shout out to my guy, who suggested that we go through this. That's a good idea that we should have done, especially with Scott Coker like boosting up his divisions.
He's also got to do that as a promoter.
Of course. And it fucking pisses me off so much whenever we hear media members or anybody suggesting that we should do a cross-promotion fight. It's never going to happen.
It's just a waste of time.
Never.
It's the same thing with Brock Lesnar's a free agent, and then everybody's fucking matchmaking him and John Jones. I'm like, the guy is 43 and said he doesn't want to fight anymore, hasn't fought in 4 years. He's not doing MMA.
This is all
even the whole free agent thing.
Yeah.
All that means is him and Vince haven't come to a deal yet.
Yeah.
It means he's on standby. That's all it means. He's still pretty much part of the WWE.
Actually, just like we're talking about this Bellator versus UFC thing, it's all fantasy. Like, it's all just hypothetical and all that type of shit. I'm glad that you did bring the Brock Lesnar thing up, because that's something I did want to talk about. Everybody was throwing out the fantasy, like Jones against Brock or Ngannou against Brock. But the one thing that did actually catch my eye a little bit, which I think wouldn't be that bad, is if Brock actually went to Bellator and fought Fedor. Because that's the fight that... Why the fuck not? Like, they're both past their primes. Yeah. They're both older. That would be a marquee fight.
Yeah, that would.
I think
that'd be the most fun fight.
Bellator would throw the fucking checkbook at him.
100%.
Why not? That's the only fight I want to see Brock Lesnar in. That's the only fight.
Brock before his last contract negotiation when he was training for the Cormier fight, like at that point, I think when he said like, you know what, I'm done with MMA. I think he's done. He's 42 or 43.
I think if Coker gives him a good number to set up the Fedor fight, imagine you could put that on pay-per-view. People would buy that shit.
Dude, whatever number Coker throws out, Vince will match it. Vince will just pay him more.
Why not a one-off? Give me one fight with Fedor. That is the only fight.
He could do it as a free agent, especially if he goes to Vince and is just like, yo, it's COVID. You don't need me right now.
This is just legacy shit right now. Let me go get this money. It could sell solid pay-per-view numbers.
It could happen if Brock wants it. I just don't think he cares.
Man,
he's so taken care of in WWE.
For sure, of course. I'm sure
about training and fighting.
But dude, fighting an over the hill, completely aged Fedor.
But what he
why
does
not?
now is so much easier.
I know.
He does like 3-4 matches a year, and he's dominating the matches. He's barely bumping. He doesn't need this shit.
That's the only thing I would entertain for Lesnar to come back to MMA.
The best option.
It's the only thing. There is 100%. No need for him to come back to the UFC. None. Like the Jones fight is going to be a blowout. The Ngannou fight we don't need to see. You know what I mean? We don't need to see any of this shit. Just give me Fedor versus Brock and I'm done. And I'm happy with it. Then go back and fucking play fight again.
You know what I mean? If he has to come back, that's the only fight I agree with. Yeah. Yep.
All right, that was a great fucking episode that we just ran through the last 3 weeks of UFC and whatever the major headline was.
To catch up on.
Yeah, no real deciding splits to do. We could have done one on Munez and Edgar, but it's too late now. I don't give a fuck. And we did discuss it a little bit too. And yeah, if that one judge gave round 3 to fucking Pedro Munez, we'd be sitting here talking about how good Pedro Munez looked and what could be next for him. But unfortunate that judge was on crack or whatever the fuck it was. Decent card coming up this weekend. We'll recap for you guys this weekend as well too. Yeah, that's really about it. Anything else?
Nope.
No. All right, we'll see you guys again for the next episode. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, do all that shit. Comment below and let us know as well in terms of the Bellator matchups that we just quickly went over. Who you guys would favor on either side. Does Pitbull beat Volkanovski? We don't think he will, but it is a close fight. Let us know what you guys think. All right, we're out. We'll see you guys next week.